This video is brought to you by SoccerPro.com. Be sure to visit SoccerPro.com for all the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices with no membership fees. Don't forget to use coupon code SR4U at checkout for $10 off a $75 purchase, plus free shipping within the US. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you a comparison video between the Nike CTR360 Maestri 2 and the Nike CTR360 Trequartista 2. Sorry. Basically, this is the top-end model in the Maestri, and the Trequartista is the first takedown. But what you might notice is that these two shoes are very similar, even just from looking at the two. It is pretty hard to tell the difference. If you're wondering, that is the Maestri, that is the Trequartista, and the price difference is pretty much half. You're looking at about $180 for the CTR at retail price, and then somewhere around $100 for the Trequartista. So you're looking at about an $80 price difference. And I'm not sure that there's too much to justify that big price difference. While these two shoes are still very similar to each other, I can definitely see where the premium feel comes in on the CTR360. If we start with the uppers, the CTR360 uses a super high-end synthetic. It's called Kanga Light from Nike. It's basically a synthetic material that's made to mimic the feel of leather. And while it's somewhat successful in doing that, it definitely doesn't have that same feel as leather. I guess it doesn't have that same cushion. It can, once you break it in, it has that same level of softness, but definitely not that same cushion. It's a much thinner version of leather, I guess you could say, and a less padded version. You're going to notice that you get these two memory foam pods on the outside of the shoe on the CTR360. While the Trequartista also has that, I don't believe they're memory foam, but they still are padded. And at the end of the day, to me at least, it felt pretty much exactly the same as far as touching the ball on these pods. There's really no difference in shape or anything like that. And again, the feel is pretty much the same. As far as the upper goes on the Trequartista, it's not a Kanga Light, but it is a synthetic leather. They're both synthetic shoes, no natural leather whatsoever. And the synthetic leather on the Trequartista is actually a little bit softer, especially from right out of the box, and definitely a little bit thicker. It's definitely overall a more padded shoe than the CTR360 is, the Maestri, sorry, and definitely does not feel like a low-end shoe. I would go as far to say as I almost prefer the touch on the Trequartista as opposed to the CTR, the Maestri, sorry. Simply because it's a little bit more padded. To me, it felt a little bit more like leather than the actual Maestri does. As far as the other differences goes, you're going to notice that there's a rubber element on the Maestri here. It has these little dimples coming off of it, similar to the lasers do. And you have this little rubber thing here as well. A lot of people really like this little element here. It kind of, you do notice it when you pass the ball, I guess you could say. It's just that little bit of extra padding. Some people think it allows them to curve the ball a little better. While I don't exactly agree with that, it's definitely noticeable on the Maestri. Personally, I could definitely do without it. And on the Trequartista, you have it's rubber, but it's definitely flat. There's nothing coming off of it. And then this part, there's no actual rubber at all. I definitely actually prefer the Trequartista in that respect, simply because it doesn't feel like it's there. Which is something that I prefer. While others may not prefer that, I actually did. You're going to notice that the heel the heel is a little bit different. You get the suede heel liner in the Maestri as opposed to the just synthetic leather in the Trequartista. But the overall fit of the two shoes, again, is a little bit different as well. This is the main difference as far as what's going to differentiate the price difference, I guess you could say. The overall fit and feel of the Maestri is definitely more high-end. The fit is much tighter. You get a much smaller toe box. It's narrower all the way through. It's not a narrow fitting shoe, but it fits a lot tighter to your foot all the way through. Where the Trequartista to me felt a little bit on the chunky side, especially in comparison to more high-end shoes. And while I didn't think the feel felt cheap at all, it's just a wider overall fit, bigger toe box. And as far as sizing goes, I'm a perfect 9 in a Maestri with basically no room at the toe whatsoever. Where a 9 in the Trequartista seemed a little bit roomier, much wider toe box, and even a little bit of extra space in the toe. I wouldn't say it's enough to justify going down half a size, but it's definitely a noticeable difference in the fit, which is definitely something worth talking about. As far as the sole plate goes and stud pattern, you're pretty much getting the exact same sole plate stud pattern. You're getting this all blade stud pattern with the 4 blades in the back, and then the blades down the side with this kind of circular basically formation in the middle here. And while it does a good job of gripping on grass, it does a good job of gripping on any surface, it isn't something that I definitely recommend for use on turf, simply because it grips from all direction, and in combination with the clinginess of actual artificial turf surfaces, it just doesn't fare well. Once you plant your foot, you really lose that mobility when you are playing on turf. But if you are going to be playing on grass or any kind of natural surface, you should have no issues with the CTR360 sole plate. Again, this is a Trequartista, exact same stud pattern, no difference whatsoever. The studs are identical, and the sole plate itself is also identical as well. While this one doesn't have the same kind of finishing on it, doesn't look as good, it is actually the exact same thing. So again, those are the main differences between these two shoes. There's really, as far as weight goes, you're looking at the CTR, the Maestri actually weighs a little bit more. There's a little bit more going on. It weighs in about 10 ounces, where the Trequartista weighs about half an ounce less, which is at like 9.5 ounces. While this is not a major difference, again, it's worth noting, and when they're on your feet, there's really no difference whatsoever as far as weight goes. Overall, I have to say the Maestri is probably the nicer shoe, simply because the synthetic upper seems a little bit better quality, and the overall fit, just in my opinion, is a lot better. Probably for most people, it's going to feel a lot better as well. Again, if you want to check out the full written review for the CTR360 Maestri 2, there'll be a link in the description. And if you want to see the full written review for the Trequartista 2, there'll be a link in the description of that review page as well. While the full written review is not up yet, if you are seeing an annotation here, that means you're watching this a little bit later, and the review should be up. If you're watching this now, the review will be up in about 2 weeks or so. So keep checking back to the website for that. Again, all the high quality pictures, all the buy now links, and the full written review that really goes into detail on these two shoes. Those links will be in the description. And any questions you guys have not related to the video, go ahead and ask them on my Facebook page. There'll be a link in the description of that as well. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.